Chris, I know the other day you and Blake had a crazy story. I want you guys to be the ones to lead it. It was at an estate sale for a very notable developer. Let's let you guys get into it.
You tell the story.
So there was an estate sale that the pictures looked amazing. There was only like a bunch of video games.
I remember that.
And I was scrolling through the pictures, and we had to be the first ones in line. There's like, if you're not going to get any of the good stuff, obviously. And Chris had sent me a picture of, in the corner of one of the images, there was a street sign, right? And it was blurry. And I was like, I swear to God, I drove past that today. Like, because I had done some investigating earlier in the day.
Recognizance.
Yeah, we'll drive around. And,
So to make it clear for the audience, what you guys will do sometimes is see the pictures, see if there's any indications of where this estate sale might be before they drop the address, because they don't drop the address till that morning. If you can go camp out the night before.
Yeah.
Right. We'll go on Google Maps. You've done it with us too, Curtis.
I did it the other day with Blake.
Curtis and I have like gotten on the phone. We've seen. Yeah, it's pretty,
I love it. You guys are psychopaths, bro.
Yeah.
We would see a picture of a car, and then remember we went on. It was a yellow van, and we went on Google Maps, and we saw from the aerial.
It was across the way from a drainage, the LA River, and then it was like, okay, let's just follow it and find the blue van and find the fence. We found it, and I was like, we got it. We're gonna be there first.
Yep. And we were. And mind you, we're not the only ones that do this. It's funny because we'll show up, and then somebody else will stroll in, and they're like, "How'd you find it?" And we tell them, and they're like, "Oh, we saw the same clue." So other people are doing it too.
And we stated this before, like the California game for estate sales is cutthroat. You have to do anything you can to try to be at least
first
top
10.
10.
At an advantage.
Top 10.
Yeah, top
First
10.
10.
That's actually why I don't do estate sales. Is I don't have that cutthroat mentality when it comes to hunting, and I know I wouldn't do well in that scene. I'd be too like, oh, was that yours? Like, no problem.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No,
buddy.
I'm the same way with you on that because like I'm walking around. I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to touch anybody.
These
I mean,
guys
it's
are-
still very friendly with the people that are there generally, although I have seen some instances where
Some
some
people are
fights
kinda
almost break out.
standoffish.
We've never had any issues.
We'll finish that story.
Sorry.
We go.
So I find the house at like 9:30 at night, and I was like, well, I don't want to leave. So I set out my placeholder. I stayed there overnight, slept in my car, woke up at like...
I slept in my car too.
Did Chris keep you warm?
No, I was in my car. He was in front of me.
I woke up. We were first in line. We start digging. We get some, like most of the stuff that we wanted to. We missed the one really good box, of course.
The Sega stuff.
Yeah, the Sega
I remember
stuff. And we left, and then we came back on the last day that was like getting hosted, and we went and got like there was a box of like paperwork that they were asking like 150 on the first day, and we were like, I don't really know what this is. And then there was a box of like Tandy stuff. And
Tandy, which is what we talked about, arcade type stuff.
yeah, it's like
Old
computer
computers.
stuff.
Color computers. They call them Coco computers.
Coco 3, yeah. And so we get it for like pretty cheap compared to what they were asking for on like the first day.
Okay.
And we start going through, and I'm going through the paperwork, and it's all like the original code to like Defender, like Crystal Quest for Game Boy, like Rampage for Tandy, like just like all of these, like the original code for the games.
That's
and
crazy.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
this
so
is insane.
The guy was a game developer. His name was Steve Bjork,
Mm-hmm.
Bjork. Developed games in the 80s, 90s. And there was another one that was in there that you didn't mention, which was actually, he started developing for Nintendo later in his career.
Oh, boy.
And so there was the code that was in there was for Pitfall 2,
That's
the NES game, which was I had to look it up because I was like, Pitfall 2. I was
Super
like,
Pitfall?
No,
No, it was just Pitfall 2. And I was like, wait, that game came out. And then I actually texted it to Lance, and Lance was like, no, I don't think that game ever came out. You look it up, there's Wikipedia of Pitfall 2 NES. It was an unreleased game that never came out. So
That's why I was confused. That's why I said Super Pitfall, because
that's what I thought at first too. I was like, oh, maybe Super Pitfall for
NES. They have a Super Pitfall in NES.
Yeah, no, this was maybe it was Super Pitfall 2. That's what it is.
it was.
Yeah, I think
it was Super
Pit-
Pitfall.
I would have to
Not
check.
Pitfall 2 for Atari.
looking.
Super Pitfall 2 for NES. There is like a Wikipedia page, and so the original code was there, printed out.
And by the way, yes, Super Pitfall is
Someone the
NES.
day before had found the cart for it.
There was a cartridge that was in there.
They
in
found
the
it on
back
the
of
second
a
day,
closet.
A prototype?
Prototype.
Yeah, prototype.
No.
Of an unreleased game. Yeah. So we missed that.
No.
But we did get, I mean, so basically, at the estate sale, it's done by the family. The family is allowing them to sell this stuff, right? So it's all his development code.
They knew what he did for a living.
Right.
Obviously.
They knew what he did for a living. So it's all passed out. It's out to the public. And the bin that we got must have been like maybe 300 floppy disks of just all these games that he developed.
All the source code.
And the interest in why some of them are so cool is we did reach out to like some of the Facebook groups. There's like a TRS-80, there's a Coco Computer Facebook groups, and we shared some pictures of this stuff, and they all knew who Steve Bjork was from like going to conventions in the 80s and stuff. And that's a very like
tight.
It's not a group that I'm that familiar with.
I was going to say TRS-80 and stuff like that is
they're very tight knit,
very obscure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they were, of course, very excited about it. They wanted us to initially kind of like donate the stuff to a museum.
They didn't know who you guys were. They don't call us the waxers for nothing.
But there was obviously a lot of interest in the stuff, so we've decided that we're gonna put it up for auction. Was the best route to do that. So we do have an auction coming up for this stuff
in February.
In February, yeah, we went through an actual auction company. So instead
That'll
of going
probably be when
eBay,
this is released. So
yeah, so they will go up for auction. We figured, listen, we're not going to just necessarily donate the stuff, but it's out there to the public. We'll put it out at auction at a $1 start, and people, by all means, can buy it.
You don't have to. You don't owe any. The first people to tell people to donate are always the people who don't own it. So it's like you didn't pay money and go scalp a neighborhood and stalker style find the estate sale.
Yeah, I had a couple of people hit me up because there was some people giving us a little bit of like a little bit of pushback in the chat because we weren't a part of the chat for that long. You know what I mean?
Got it.
And I had two people that were like moderators in the group hit me up and they're like, "Don't listen to them. Like Steve Bjork would not have released that stuff. He didn't release it on purpose, and he didn't give his source code out because he was a very private person."
Yeah.
Yeah, and it ended up being cool with all of them. I think the initial pushback was that they felt like, oh, you're just in this group to kind of like hawk your stuff,
flex,
like and like you're just trying to sell it to us. And I commented in a nice way. It was nice. I was like, listen, I'm not here to hype this up. It's not a hype train. You guys, as the group, are the most ones who would be interested.
Yeah,
in
you
this
guys
stuff.
are the
if
ones.
You don't want to know about it.
necessarily.
Okay, well then I guess you didn't want us to even tell you that we found it, kind of thing. And it was fine. It ended up being fine by the end. But there was a pushback from a few people that felt that, and I get it. At the end of the day, that is a very tight knit group. This guy was like a friend of theirs that passed, so there was some sentimental with
I get that.
this particular guy. So
you're balancing business and trying to show respect and
and it was not like, I also let that group know. I was like, listen, I own video game stores, run expos too. I'm not just some like estate sale guy that happened to find this. I understand your guys' sentiment for this
Towards
stuff. I
this,
do. Am I just going to say, here you go, it's for free now? No, not necessarily. I had to pay for it.
We
there was
paid
a lot
money
of work
for
that
it,
went
yeah.
into it.
And
so
like I said, the first people to tell you to donate are never the ones who have anything into it. It's from the other side of the internet. Hey, that would be really cool. I get it. You want to respect the community because it's something that's special to the community, but there's still real life that goes involved with what you guys did to get it. So I get it.
yeah,
I can't believe nobody else picked it up.
it was there the last day. I
last
know
day.
we saw it on the first day too, and we
We just didn't know what it was. It looked so random. Like it was just random floppy disks, like with words written on it. Like it wasn't like, didn't look like games or anything.
And what the most interest in what could be on there is undeveloped games is what people are
Absolutely.
interested in. Games that he had been working on, and apparently there was rumor that he was working on some games that were never released.
Kept one.
Ooh.
You did?
I have one that has
Chris is like,
two
what?
games that were under.
Wait, we're busy.
Chris is like, wait, I thought we split it.
Which ones did you keep?
It's one that has two games under development. It's called Croids and like New Something, but they had never released.
Now, you guys have like a really interesting relationship when it comes to buying and selling. Like, how do you guys like really split everything up?
We split big hauls. Anything like massive. Sometimes we'll like split like smaller hauls, but usually it's like 100 VHS tapes or like
Yeah.
100 DVDs.
Same thing,
or-
Ricky.
Is that where
Yeah.
you lose your rock paper scissors battle?
Yes, every time.
It
Every
works,
time.
It works really well
For Chris.
I don't know. We enjoy hunting together a lot, and we complement each other. We both have good, eyes for things. Now, does there get times when Blake's mitts get a little,
little
bit
competitive.
grabby? When I'm at the flea market, and like sometimes there's hands, and I have to swat his hands away from picking out of the bins I'm looking in. Yeah, that does happen.
Yeah.
but in a friendly way.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
Every once, I mean, we do the same thing. We'll split big lots. If there's ever a time where like, I'll say it's like especially the times where like they're asking a price that like may not even be necessarily high, but that like I don't know what's in there. Like I don't know if there's good stuff in there, and they're like, you take it all or nothing. And I'll be like, Ricky, like if we split it, then if it ends up not being anything cool or unique or valuable or something we want to keep, obviously, then it's like at least the burn's less.
Yeah.
Because you split it. So I get it.
We try to reciprocate like finding deals too.
Yeah.
Like if for a while I felt like you had found a bunch of deals and I was like, dang, I owe you some deals. Like, thank you so much for bringing me in on these big hauls. So then I find a deal. It's not like, oh shit, well, I'm going to go over there and just go buy this stuff. I'll be like, hey man, there's a good deal I just found. You
That
wanna
was
come
Ricky with
me?
the storage locker haul. I feel like one time when I got that one to Ricky, I'm like, all right, he owes me for a while. This was a good one.
Yeah, like
that was a good one.
That's the way we feel.
Yeah.
It's more like, all right, you owe me for the next one,
Yeah, that's fun.
So I know that, like, at what extent, because I know you said you sleep in your car, like, how many times do you think you've done that?
Oh, a lot.
I don't have a home.
Every week.
Way to call me out, man.
No, because I mean, like, it was funny because when I did find one of those estate sales, like prior to this, like not too long ago, like probably like a month ago, I had messaged Blake the address, and he goes, I go, yeah, I'm going to wake up at 4. And he goes, I'm just going to sleep there. I can't wake up at 4.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, it was, when I got there at 4 in the morning, it was freezing.
Don't
I
forget.
got 2 blankets in my car for that reason.
Yeah, but look at his mask, man. Like, he ain't got that extra cheese.
Don't
like I
got
do
the extra
here.
skin.
Don't forget Blake's age. He's at the age still where like you can, if you go to bed, you're not going to wake up early, so you're better off pulling an all nighter. That's
Yeah.
still
Like,
a young age
I'll
perception.
put a timer on my phone for every 30 minutes so I don't fully go to sleep when I'm at the estate sales.
Yeah, it's a lot of. I've only done it a couple times with you sleeping
sucks.
in the car. It sucks.
It sucks.
And
Terrible.
I'm double the age of him, and I'll tell you, like, it's funny too because I tell my wife, I'm like, hey, it'll be like midnight, and she's like, where are you going? And I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna let you know this is kind of weird, but going to an estate sale.
What's her name,
sleeping-
Chris?
No,
What's her name?
I'm like, I'm sleeping in my car, and at first she's like, what? But of course she knows what I do, and
Yeah.
I don't do it that often, but it is a lot of work.
Usually he'll just meet me in the morning.
I try to just send Blake and be like, put a box down.
Yeah.
But that, a lot of
Line
times
holders.
that doesn't work out.
No,
yeah, people
imagine-
don't like that.
No,
People
but
do not
imagine
like
like she goes, why are you here at this house this long, Chris? And then,
Yep.
no. I know you guys don't do estate sales at all, but you guys also go to like very unique houses. Do you think you guys have like found like something that's been like you've never seen before, something that that has super crazy?
As far as like anything else, I feel like most of our big finds have been from storage units or swap meets. I've never, yes, we've gone to like the abandoned homes and we've found cool stuff.
Yeah.
But never anything where I was like, ooh, this is going to change, the perception of us as a collector. Like this is the one. Our friends had the big one. I don't know if you even knew them at the time. Our friends at the time, Corbin and Amy, they went to this house that was I'm talking, it made the news, like local news. It was a disgusting home that was just full of roaches. I mean, you're literally sticking your hands in a foot of filth full of roaches and stuff to pull out nothing but sealed games, just for endless sealed games. All the Zeldas, all the GameCube, all the Xbox, all the Wii stuff, just everything sealed, all heavy hitters. And they were just doing it in a pair of Crocs and short shorts, and because it was just a random thing that happened, and they ended up making the news and everything. So that's the kind of stuff that I strive for with that stuff. But I feel like at this point, we're blessed enough that we know so much of the community that so many people, we kind of get leads, kind of get tipped off. It's been a while since it's been like the had no idea type of thing.
But not necessarily like you finding it, but maybe like someone showing you something that you've never seen before. Like, do you have like any like recollection at somebody's house like that?
I mean, more at Archon's house.
I was going to say Archon.
A buddy named Archon who runs the World of Art of Nintendo Power. He runs all that, and we went to his house, and he was like, Ricky and I have been big sign guys. We love signs, but his signs were like the next level signs, to where he had this Power Glove Mattel sign. And I was like, oh my gosh, this thing is insane. It's huge. It lights up crazy. I'm like, where'd you get this? He's like, yeah, this like I found this guy who was like the dealer for it, and he's like, I'm like, that is so rare. He's like, yeah, you see those 2 of them? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, that's the only 2 in existence. So I was like, well, there you go. That's why I've never seen them before. So stuff like that. I think if you go to those really high-end collectors, people like Gamer Aimer, like it's those people who have like the big ones that kind of.
I mean,
We did get the cool thing. The thing I actually sold to Chris that he has at his store now. The Knights. That's
awesome.
one of like
5 apparently.
Yeah, 1 of 5.
Yeah.
Man, I shouldn't have sold that.
And he waxed you. Get waxed, Ricky.
You think Griff and my wife, they're like, you got to get rid of that. I'm like, no.
No, thank you, because that thing is incredible. And I know you had some other people that were in.
Me and Ricky just made it in his backyard and said it was official.
Yeah. Well, I guess like his backyard is your backyard, kind of, in the sense that he could just go and visit your store. You know what I mean? It's very
That's
close.
true.
That's true.
We can look at it.
But I was going to say, like, as I've collected more and more, I do find myself going for more of like the super, super, super unique things, the one of one things in particular, which is like what Archon collects. Like all that Art of Nintendo Power stuff in artwork in general is just one of one.
Bro, he has the folders they would give the Nintendo employees.
The counselors.
Their
one,
guidebooks for when people would call the counselors for like what to say. So it'd be like, oh, you're on Zelda level 2. Okay, what you need to do is defeat this boss and then go here. And it's like, dude, he has those books. And I'm like, that's freaking. He has other sketches when they were bored and they would draw, pictures of Tektites.
Crazy.
That was cool.
But I've just to spin off of that, but like I dove into that video game art stuff recently.
Oh yeah.
And it is incredible. There's a whole tiny little group of people.
Pull out your wallet, bro.
I know. You got to pull out your wallet for this stuff. Like original cover art for like a Nintendo game is like
grab your ankles.
There's
at
like
that
10
point.
grand for that point.
I know.
For that stuff. But I did buy my first art piece, which is the cover of Predator Concrete Jungle on PS2, where he's holding the skull.
Oh, that's a cool one.
And I bought it's the original line art drawing of that.
How much?
I bought it for $800.
Okay.
Which I thought was pretty good, and I love the cover art of that.
It's a good game.
And it's a good game. The guy was over in, I think he was in like Egypt or something, and he shipped it over to me. Maybe France. Yeah, it came overseas. So I did dive into that. It's a pretty unique, like, you want to go way out into the realm of video game collecting. That's like the deep
That's
end
out
of it.
there.
Yeah, it's out there. But it's a pretty awesome little community in there too.
I like that.
Definitely stuff that I like. When I saw Archon stuff, dude, I was like in awe. I was so shocked at all of it.
It's
So
a jaw
crazy.
dropper.
Anyway, I know we call you a certain name. Please don't go too much into detail into the dirty part of it, but we call you the smut peddler for a reason. One thing
We're talking about Blake.
We're talking about Blake, the mop, the redhead, the ginge, everything that we love about him.
Yes.
Kind of explain, like, when you go to these estate sales, you pick up a lot of that stuff.
Smut is the word we'll use kindly here.
Smut,
So,
yes.
so we don't
Yes.
get demonetized.
Yeah. That's why.
A lot of I used to be able to sell it on eBay. Just like I would get my listings taken down every once in a while. Sometimes I'd acquire a 3-day suspension. You know what I mean? Because kept be listing that stuff on eBay, but it would sell for $70, $80, $150. I'm getting it for like 50 cents, $1, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like no one wants this stuff anyway except weirdos and the people buying it.
No, you just lost your audience there.
Your whole clientele, dude. It's over now.
Unsave the item from eBay.
It's
He's
over.
like, delete the.
It's over.
Ben's gonna stop buying from you.
Oh,
No, it's mostly
man.
Tony, to be honest.
Yeah, Tony's a big
But
buyer, too.
I honestly I haven't been able to sell it that much anymore because it just gets taken down. eBay's caught onto it pretty well.
You know what, Blake? I'm gonna say it's probably better for you if you don't.
Some of this stuff is worth, vintage, hard to find smut.
Yeah.
we'll call it. It is worth. There is some of it.
There's
If you can
some
find an
crazy
outlet
market.
to sell it, there is so much value in that. I have a few listings up myself on eBay that have kind of gotten through the bots, and like I sold a movie the other day. It's a play on Tomb Raider.
Jewel
boy.
Raider.
Yeah.
What was it called?
Jewel Raider.
Yeah. That we don't have to say too much about
Jewel
the-
Raider, and there was one called
title.
Womb Raider.
You asked the question.
Yeah, I know.
And guess how much that DVD sold for? $69.
I don't know.
The kid in you, man.
$200.
Wow.
Wow.
$200 for that DVD.
Yeah.
But when eBay gets you guys on, like,
Sorry for listening, mom and dad, on this one.
no, yeah. But I mean, like, it is business, right? So,
Yes.
another aspect is eBay shuts down your store. How detrimental is it for you?
Oh, it cost me thousands.
Really?
Like over, I got a 10-day ban, and that 10 days cost me about $2,000,
Wow. Yeah.
like 2,500.
Yeah.
Like, so it's a lot.
They haven't been doing it as much recently. Most of they've been taking the listings down. We try not to list a ton of that stuff. Try to follow the guidelines with eBay. I had listed some stuff way back, and you had too, from like a lot that I think when I did the VHS store clear out.
Yes.
If you remember that story, there was a huge section of this stuff, and so I was like, oh, and it was like old. I was like, all right, I'll just take it. It was included with everything. So I was like, now what? What do I do? And so we tried doing some stuff on eBay, and that's when we were getting the bans and stuff like that.
Stop doing it though. Thank God.
Hey, man.
Bunch of perverts.
I guess I'll take this.
Excuse me, sir. What is in your carry-on?
Like the El Monte estate sale that we went to.
Yeah.
The house was just full of VHS, right?
Yeah.
The abandoned house we went to in our abandoned house video.
Yeah, that was rough too.
Probably 100
Riff
of them.
was doing everything he
Did you take
could.
On reels.
Oh.
On reels.
Yes, we left them. They were gross,
We
dude.
left them. I don't want that, you sicko.
We got nowhere to put those
God.
things.
Like get over here, over here. Like where was that?
Where was that?